If you want to see amazing and exciting duels, informative and entertaining top 10 lists, and everything else that's just great about the game of Yu-Gi-Oh!, you gotta watch the Capital G Show. Shout out to my homeboy Dante. Ayy. What's up YouTube, Capital G here, doing a bold prediction video for the 2015 North American World Championship Qualifier. So for those of you who may be new to my channel or maybe new viewers, subscribers, you probably have never seen this segment before, and I haven't done it in probably about a year. And this is a segment where I basically make bold predictions before major tournaments, and I predict what's gonna win. I tell you some strange decks that might top that you might not be expecting. I give you some reasons for why I believe that, and I used to do this segment frequently, and then I would, then the Monday I would make a segment called Where Capital G Was Wrong. I'm definitely going to do that unless for some reason I'm just 100% right, which I don't think is likely to happen, because in these videos I'm usually only right about 30% of the time. In fact, that number might be even a little overestimated. But I used to do these a lot before YCSs, but then when Konami switched over to top 16 being draft, I felt like what actually won the event and what top became, it started to become irrelevant, because it was hard to distinguish the best player at that point, or even the best deck, when they're basically just dueling with a whole bunch of random piles of stuff like that. So anyways, I feel like this is a good event for a segment like this. I probably would have done this for the 150th YCS, but I didn't know that they weren't doing Swiss. And technically I don't know if they're not doing or I don't know if they're actually not going to do draft, but I would just assume because they didn't do it with the 150th YCS. So all right, for starters, my biggest and boldest prediction is that Ritual Beasts, or I like to call them Spirit Beasts, are going to win this event. I think it's going to be a huge shocker. I think they're going to beat Necros in the finals. I got a bunch of reasons. First off, I think their Necros matchup is very good. When I was watching the live stream of the 150th YCS at Columbus, there were numerous occasions where there was a Necros player on stream and they were dueling against like Spirit Beast, and the Spirit Beast player just like rolled them. And you guys have seen on Dueling Network, the latest duel that I posted, where Necros players are up 6 cards and still end up losing. And I feel like it's a really great matchup, because a lot of times Necros will kind of force their opponent to go first. They'll say, we're going to take the extra cards. There's really not much you can do to hurt us. And unless you're playing a deck like Qualifier, where you can open sometimes like Stealth plus Monolith plus Scout and just have a whole bunch of advantage, a lot of decks can't make a ton of advantage. But Spirit Beast, they have the ability to go into Counter Hawk like 2 or 3 times in their first turn and just get a whole bunch of ridiculously good traps, and then say, all right, Necros, what do you have? Oh, you don't have Denko? Okay, well, I guess we'll just win, and I guess you're gonna have to invest in a Valkyris that's basically just a -1 if you want to survive the next turn. And technically they can play around that with the ultimate Apelio anyway. I feel like the support that this deck got in Cross Souls actually vastly improved the deck. Not only the Zephyr Pelika, but then the ultimate Gaia, this one right here, if I'm not mistaken, it makes Rampingu better because it gives you more options like of cards that you can actually just use with that card's effect. I feel like their matchup across the board is pretty decent against like Tellarknights and Shadows. Shadows you would think would have an advantage, activate Shadow Fusion, but they can just uncontact, and essentially they never get like free Shadow Fusions because all of these can uncontact. So it's really not that big of a deal. I think that Qualifier will be their worst matchup, but I think somehow, some way, some lucky player is going to win this event with Ritual Beasts. I think that Necros and Qualifier will be the top decks as far as or the most populated in the top 32. I think that they'll be the decks that people are looking at the top tables for the majority of the event. I think Qualifier just have so many good Floodgate cards. Recreate being a searchable, kind of like a one-turn breakthrough skill. The fact that it also banishes big monsters like Trishula and Valkyris and whatnot if you happen to kill those. And then of course there's Stealth, where you can just constantly bounce this card. So it is technically reusable. Necros, I'm really not going to explain that. The deck is the best deck in the format vastly. For another bold prediction, I feel like that one deck that has a very good chance of top 64ing, and I'm going to say it is going to top 64, that one deck where you're like, really? How the heck did that top 64? There's always that one strange deck. I think it's going to be Harpies, and I kind of wanted to pick a deck that was not even remotely meta, not even something like Volcanics, because you could kind of expect that, but I kind of, I boiled it down to 3 decks. I was thinking Black Wings, Madoche and Harpies, and I feel like Madoche's is really good. I feel like it's better than Blackwings, but I just don't think anybody's gonna play it. And I decided to pick the deck that I thought was just the best and most consistent of the three, mainly because Harpies have better defensive options because of like cards like Icarus Attack and Phoenix Wind Blast. That Madoche is just, the deck has never been able to really play great defense. So I think the one deck that may shock tons of people and may be like, how did he top, is I think it's going to be Harpies. Another bold prediction, and I don't know if this is that bold. I feel like a couple of hero players might actually sneak into top 64. I feel like there's going to be more hero players that top than Serteller Knights. I don't know why that is. I think Serteller Knights is probably the better deck. I feel like it's just an easier win condition versus Cleefort and versus Necros. There's not that much grinding involved, and I think that that's why the deck may have more success against the big two, because essentially if you have a Dark Law plus a Phoenix Chain, a lot of times you just kind of win against Cleefort. You can just win against Necros. It's like, oh, you wanted to use your Summoner's Art? Like, all right, I'll just take the Scout out of your hand. I'll just rip your hand apart, and now you just can't do anything. Oh, you thought that Sacrifice was going to the graveyard? Read Dark Law. No, it's not. You know, same thing against Necros. If you have like a Mind Crush plus a Dark Law on field, it's kind of like GG. Oh, you want to play that Manju? All right, well, Mind Crush and Chain Dark Law's effect, or vice versa, and just auto win against your opponent. So a couple of other crazy predictions. I feel like, and I may have been swayed by Inch 95. I feel like Thunder King is going to be like the side deck card of the event. I feel like you're even going to see these in Necros mirrors, for the same reason that you saw it back in the day against the X-Saber mirrors, where Dark Soul was just so big of a deal, and it also stopped the cat plays where the deck wanted to synchro summon. But I feel like you're going to see some Necros players siding this in against each other, because it's like more outs to just destroying your opponent. I mean, it's essentially a floodgate that can also attack. You know what I mean? I guess all the answers that answer the Genlock also answer this card, but it's just food for thought. I feel like this card is going to be, you may even see it migrated into some main decks, and then this will be the card that a lot of people aren't side decking that they wish they were. Because when people realize that Spirit Beast won the event, everybody's going to be like, well, why didn't anybody side Iron Wall? And then I think a lot of people are just going to say, well, did you really expect Ritual Beast to win the event? So I think that this will be the one card that a lot more people wish that they sided. Maybe they side 2 copies and they probably wanted to max out, because it's like, other than this, I mean, a lot of people feel comfortable with the maxis and maybe even the shared ride, siding those in against Spirit Beast, because you can also side those in against other decks. And yes, you can side in shared ride against Spirit Beast, because if they play a Pelio, you can chain it, get a 1-for-1. If they want to do any more Pelios, you can just plus off of it, essentially. So let me know what you guys think. I think that if I had to bet, I wouldn't bet a nickel on Ritual Beast actually winning the event. It's just, I have a gut feeling, and I've been talking about this deck a lot for the last 2 months, so I feel like I got to stick to my guns here. I got to back this deck because I've been talking about it too much. So let me know what you guys think. Thank you for watching, as always. Subscribing makes life happy.